Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bryony. What we're doing today is we're doing a bit of a deep dive into the hair industry, as in human hair. So that is a trigger warning for a multitude of things which I'll have on the screen right now. We're talking about this throughout the whole length of the video, so if any of these things are an issue for you, please do not watch this. I am more concerned about your own mental health. All of the sources are in the description box down below. All of the products that I use on my face are in the description box down below. This has definitely been a fail if you compare what I was meant to create compared to what I did create. But anyway, you can just laugh at me struggle the whole time. I have recently had surgery, so that is why this has been even more challenging to film. So I do apologise for that, but without any further ado, let's jump straight in, shall we? I'm going to start trying to actually do lives once a week on my Instagram as well, so do check me out on Instagram right here. The handle is just BryonyClaire_vegan, and it will probably be on like a Saturday or Sunday because your girl works full time, so I don't have much free time. I'm also one-handed. Also, I can't style my hair, so hi, let's go. This is a deep topic, like, despite how fluffy it may seem, it's actually quite horrific, so I'm just wanting to frame this. Thank you, Train, for letting yourself be known to literally everyone. Rude. So there are many legitimate reasons as to why people want to have wigs, and I'm not taking away from that. Let's just list a few of them. Alopecia, hair loss, whether it's postpartum or just generic hair loss that happens. Whether you've got body dysmorphia, whether you are sick and your hair is falling out because of that. There is, of course, the very obvious answer of cancer and going through cancer treatment. There is body dysmorphia. There are people that are trying to transition and feeling more comfortable with the fact that they can have a wig and make that transition more comfortable. There are also religious reasons. Like, for example, I know that some Orthodox Jewish women cannot actually show their natural hair and they have to wear a wig over that as well. And of course, the wonderful racial stereotype of challenging hair textures and the fact that natural hair has not been deemed socially acceptable for black people for forever, basically. It's even revolutionary today, which is shocking, stupid, why? Please do not see this video as being like a hate video, as a judgmental video, as a video that is meant to shame you, because honestly, with the content that I make, I need to stop gesticulating so much because this really hurts. So with the content that I make, like, I never ever want to make people feel terrible, feel bad, feel ashamed. Like, that is not my end goal. My goal is to educate and allow people to find out stuff that they may not have known beforehand, and maybe it's a learning opportunity and it's a chance for us to have a discussion. That's literally what this is about. So it's like, for example, like, some of my favorite content creators wear wigs all the time, and I have no tea, no shade, no hate towards them. Like, Ready to Glare wears wigs all the time. One of my favorite TV shows, RuPaul's Drag Race, like, each contestant owns many wigs, and oh my gosh, they're all fabulous. So yes, this is not a video that is coming from a place of hate or of judgment. And personally, I've actually also wanted to get extensions because of my very fine hair. Like, this is volume for my hair, so I've felt less than because of the lack of volume and wonderfulness to my own hair as well. Because, you know, unrealistic hair goals, whether it's from Disney, whether it's from people like Ariana Grande or other white people. Yes, Ariana Grande is white. I don't know why people are still shocked at that fact, just because she does a little bit of blackfishing, and like, we've got those expectations again from social media, and I almost feel like it's just gotten way worse more recently as well, because over the past few years, like, wigs have been normalized and hair pieces have been normalized. I've looked at a messy bun hair tutorial, and the person put in like a massive clip-on beforehand, like, just huge, and I'm like, well, that's not a messy bun for fine hair. That is how to style using a hairpiece. And it's like, no shade to that, just that's what it is. The issues around the supply chain of human hair and how it's used in wigs, weaves, hairpieces, extensions, and also nowadays in lashes as well, because human hair lashes have become quite a thing, because we realize that, you know, animals shouldn't actually be kept just for their fur to be skinned and like tortured. So that's progress. I think that that's a fantastic thing that we've actually been able to realize. However, I'm also quite aware that that there's a lot of shady business that happens in this area, shall we say. So we're going to talk about it later. But there is a long history to human hair wigs, hair pieces, and there is a fantastic video from Kaz Rowe that I really recommend. It goes into like the history of short hair on women and like the roots of it all. Shanspear. So Shanspear has done one particular amazing video. Now Shanspear is actually one of my favorite content creators. Like, I've only discovered her in the past year, I think it was, and her content is just fabulous, amazing. I love it. But this one video in particular, if you don't know about black women's hair struggle at all, like, I mean, obviously I'm white as hell, so this is not my space to talk about. It's my space to actually like uplift other voices. Like, there are many videos here on YouTube where you can actually get educated on like other people's experiences so that we can know like what they've gone through, because I've never gone through that. I'll link those videos down below as well. So basically around like wearing hair, having short hair, like wearing other people's hair, there are a lot of socioeconomic factors that play into this. Classism, racism, geographical differences, and basically just like white rich people saying what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable and what is in vogue and what isn't in vogue, and like just having the power to shame others. Like, so this has all played really heavily into how our attitudes have changed and shifted towards hair and wearing other people's hair on our heads, and it being a sign of wealth and a sign of beauty. However, I always find this quite funny because it's like, if you ever see someone else's hair on the floor or on a table or in some food or something, it is the grossest thing. Like, it is the most vile thing ever. But you can literally get floor scrapings from another country, from other people's brushes, from other people's floors, literally. I'll tell you about it, it's very gross. And then you pay over $1,000 for a wig of it. Highlight this fantastic book as well. It's been written by Emma Tarlo, I believe in 2016. So there is a snippet of it on this podcast that I'll also link down below. She's been on the ground, she's done a lot of investigation, like literally into the entire trade, so that's why I really recommend that if you want to look into all of this further. It's provided a lot of eye-opening evidence to me, but of course I don't want to like go sharing everything from the book, because you should go and support her. So let's look at the origins of the hair market and what is deemed worthy, what is deemed less than, and all the different tiers effectively. It's like we're building like this pyramid of amazingness, going from like the creme de la creme, the most expensive stuff, all the way down to... I want to highlight right now that exploitation occurs at all levels of this. It's not just at the lower levels, and coercion, force, very underhanded tactics happen literally at every single level of sourcing hair, because the demand for it far outweighs the supply, and so shady things happen in order to get to where we are now. So European virgin hair, this is the most expensive hair that you can actually buy. This is the highest in demand. This is hair that is typically a lighter colour, it's typically got a finer texture, it's got no chemical treatments done on it like ever. So this is like the creme de la creme, finest, fanciest, most expensive wig or hairpiece or anything that you can actually buy. Now this typically comes from East Europe, so you think like Ukraine and also Russia. Russia gets included in this as well. Gosh, this is scaring me, but it looks this dark in the picture. I'm trying. Then we've got Remy Hair. So Remy Hair is donated from one person, so it's taken directly from their head and it's just from one source, which is also very expensive, hard to do and hard to source. So that is donated, or it's said to be donated from one source. And then you've got Tonsure Hair. So Tonsure Hair is from a religious pilgrimage sacrifice that is made to a temple. So I need to get my phone out to make sure I pronounce this properly. So this is hair that is shaved as part of a religious pilgrimage, such as the Venkateswara temple in Tirumala in India. The temple is actually dedicated to Venkateswara, a form of Vishnu. So the hair is actually gathered and sold. Now, because this is considered voluntary, this hair is also considered to be Remy as well. Obviously, the biggest issue here is the fact that the hair is actually given as a religious sacrifice from these people, and it gives them great joy and this sense of connection to their religion for actually going through this whole process. It's a huge deal to go on this pilgrimage and sacrifice your hair. There is a big long story about it, and so like you can clearly see where the exploitation happens here. And the fact of the matter is that the people that are giving up their hair, they don't actually know that it's being sold to Western countries. They've got no idea. They actually think that it's been accepted by Neela Devi. I'm not a religious person at all. I think I've mentioned that a few times in my videos, but honestly, I find this to be utterly revolting, because it's like how dare you just like take advantage of someone's religion like this and then go claiming that this is actually a fantastic thing. And it's like they think their hair has gone to a really, really impactful figure in their religion, and they've done a huge amount in order to be able to just get there to begin with and make sure that their hair was in the best condition for this exact thing. And then it's like, oh, we're actually just taking this and selling it. Now, the temple makes a lot of money from this, but I'm just going to put it out there. I think that this is sick and wrong, and I don't think that this is right. It's their choice as the temple is what they're going to do. It's just I find the way that these people are being exploited for their religion to be, well, the fact that this was found out and the immediate thought of businesses was, oh yeah, we'll buy that and we'll sell it on, but we won't pay the people. We'll give the temple some money, but I don't even know how much money the temple makes from it. It just feels incredibly wrong to me. So from here on out, this is going to get worse. This is where we're actually be talking about like dire poverty, awful conditions, and there'll be a lot of pictures that are showing on the screen. There won't be anything gory, but I'm not going to sugarcoat what happens. The legitimized businesses that have made money out of the most impoverished places of the world. So a lot of this is around India and Southeast Asia. And so what happens is, because like there are barely any jobs for people, so people go and fetch a lot of different recycling, so everyone's got like their own little stations, and they make literally pittance for the incredibly labor intensive, gruesome work that scars their hands, that does all sorts. So what happens is people go around and they collect hair from households with this. So they will go to different households in the different parts of the neighborhood like once a week, and they will just go and say, any hair? And so this is where you actually get hair collected from brushes, from bins, and that gets put in the bowl that they're carrying with them, and then they give something in return which is worth like a few rupees. So there is a really good article that goes in depth about this, again down below. All of my sources are down below, of course. But these people then have to go through this incredibly painstaking process of sorting out these knotted bundles of hair, and they have to go through it, sort it by colour to make sure you've got the black hair here, you've got the white hair, you've got the grey hair, and then you also have to go through the process of lining them up, making them all nice and pretty. You sort it, you wash it by dunking it in a bucket of dirty water because that's what you have, and then it gets passed on to China where it will then get processed. But these people still get barely anything from that. It's the end people that get the most out of this. Same as with the fast fashion industry, same as with a lot of other industries. China is the biggest exporter of hair pieces around the world. Anything to do with hair, biggest exporter is China. I think I should have done that cut higher, but whatever. You wouldn't even know I tried. Then we've actually got the people that go out into the provinces of poor countries to coerce, threaten, steal, buy hair off others. I can't believe I just did that. So this hair is actually collected from people who are in desperate need of money. These are severely impoverished, vulnerable people, and the problem is that young hair is what's wanted. So it's children that are getting targeted here. Children and young adults. Stories of girls crying, screaming, calling out in pain is absolutely not uncommon. Coercion is absolutely a thing that happens, and sadly, because there is an awful power dynamic at play here, it means that these people are barely compensated for their sacrifice as well. It's not the fact that they want to do this, it's the fact that they have to do this. These people that go around taking the hair, they know that they're the ones with the upper hand. They're the ones that can set the price, they're the ones that can just get away with everything. I can't believe how bad this turned out. Well, I can because it's me, but I'm still disappointed in myself. So now we need to talk about the concentration camps. I'm sorry, I mean the re-education camps in China for the Uyghur Muslims. Oh, wait, yeah, and also they've apparently been freed from their re-education. This situation in particular makes me incredibly angry. Factories built within 100 meters of the, you know, re-education camps. These people are also forced to work to make wigs, they're forced to work to make all sorts of things. All sorts of other things are actually seized from these factories as they're actually on their way out, like getting exported out to like America, etc, etc. It's one of the biggest exporters, and so making wigs is actually an incredibly painstaking, challenging process, especially for personalized ones. It's a hard job to do. It's not something that is like really easy, but like I don't really need to tell you about the humanitarian crisis that is actually happening here. People are being beaten, abused in the worst ways possible. Like, human rights are just not even a thing. And so you've got that coupled with the fact that most of them have actually had their hair removed. So not only are these people stripped of their entire identities, they're stripped of everything, their hair is literally just taken straight from them through force, because the conditions here are dire and terrifying. It's a concentration camp. That's just straight up what it is. I'm never going to visit China, so I don't care. They're then also forced to make these wigs. Now, there is a lot of very condemning footage that has actually also come out from drone footage that shows the creation of these businesses that have just been popping up more and more and more next to these concentration camps. Oh, this looks hideous. I'm so sorry that you're having to look at this. This looks so bad. And of course, the issue with the Uyghur camps is the fact that countries aren't really stepping in to do anything about it. They're stopping the export of things from the camps happening, apparently, or at least trying to, and seizing the property and saying, hey, we do not agree with this. But governments want that sweet trade deal that they've got with China, because this is kind of the path that would naturally happen if you've had white people exploiting poorer countries for a long time, and then the poorer country actually manages to actually lift themselves up, and they can't afford to pay their workers the way that they want to be able to pay their workers, so then they're going to exploit someone else. Basic situation of like the chain of events happening here. The markup on hair is huge. Hair is one of the most wanted things in the world. It is incredibly popular, and it's only getting more popular as well. And this is where we've got this big issue coming up. Now let's talk about the other issue around hair, which is the fact that it's so mysterious. I thought lashes might save this. They haven't. Let's talk about the mysteries and why there are so many mysteries around hair. So this actually starts with the consumer, because consumers don't want people to know, at least traditionally, like I talked to you about before, the fact that they are actually wearing fake hair. And if you think about any of the toupee jokes that have been made, especially in the 90s, it's almost like we were obsessed with making toupee jokes back then, and it's like, this is actually bullying. Why is this a joke? Anyway, so you had issues with that, and then you've also had like black women in particular have like their weaves mocked, all sorts of stuff over many years. And you can even go back to like Victorian times, and well, you can go back to before Victorian times. You just weren't really meant to say that the hair wasn't yours, because, you know, hair is like dirty and it had like bad vibes with it because it's got the other person's like lived experience in it. At least these are all of like the superstitions of the past. We're quite cagey about the fact that we do have fake hair if we wear it, unless it's like something that's really obvious. Like some people, like what Fashion Veggie has done on Instagram, like she's really open with her journey and her issues with postpartum hair loss, and not everyone's like that. Not everyone has been like that. It's only been fairly recently that wigs have been somewhat in people's lexicon anyway. So then we actually get on to the suppliers. Now the suppliers, like I said, we've got a demand to supply issue, because the demand is very high, the supply is very low. I don't know of many women in the Western world that are just willingly giving up their hair, because we've got our beauty standards which are incredibly slim and very hard to achieve without the aid of things like Photoshop and stuff, for example, or just money and a lot of it, and good genes and white privilege and all this other stuff, a lot. So you've got these suppliers that don't want to give up where they're getting their hair from, but then also there are issues around the fact that they want to be able to mark up the cost of the hair. So they want to say that everything's Remy hair, they want to say it's all from the temple, they want to say it's like European hair. So all of that means that you're gonna get exploitation happening. You get a lot of mislabeling happening as well, because obviously like people want to be able to make the most money out of the hair that they've like spent hours making into a wig or weave or whatever. Like people want to be able to have the biggest bang for the buck. So because of all of these factors, of the fact that they can get more money by saying that this is Remy hair, they can use standard hair and say that it's actually just from one source. They can they can get away with saying that, because it's like, how are you going to disprove them when the supply chain is so convoluted, so all over the place, and they're literally getting stuff out of bins, you know? Like, who's to say like what is and what isn't Remy or like virgin hair from like a donor in Europe or whatever? Who's to say that? Who's policing this? No one is. The hair market is an unregulated market. So that's why I'm just trying to point out, like, this is where we've got like all of these issues just blowing up. If literally from the consumer, they don't want to say what they're using, they don't really want to know about it. The thing is that cost is kind of like the biggest deciding factor as to whether someone's going to go for something, and wigs are incredibly expensive and they are a privileged thing to be able to own. There's a massive chance for being able to mismarket to people to be able to get the most money out of them, and I understand, as a business, why would you not try and get the most money? I think it is 125 grams of hair that you need to be able to make a wig. I think that's just for a standard wig. So when you think about how much your hair weighs, that's a lot of hair. We're not even on about like those fabulous huge drag queen wigs. We're not even on about stuff like that. Or if someone's trying to replicate like an Elsa wig because she has a ridiculous amount of hairs on that head of hers. And of course, we can't forget the fact that this is actually happening in foreign countries. It's happening in many countries around the world, not only from where they're sourced from, but in terms of like where you have things assembled and made. Like, getting full traceability, just like we talked about in the mica video, is incredibly hard to do, and it's not exactly something that can be done. So I'm putting it out there about like these huge challenges. So what is the issue with veganism then? Gosh, this looks terrible. I really do apologize to your eyes right now. Humans are animals, and obviously like the whole point of veganism is to avoid exploitation of animals as far as it's practicable and possible. And the thing about human hair wigs is the fact that they're not exactly what you would deem an essential purchase to many people. Now, like I mentioned before, there are definitely people that do need them, and I'm not trying to take away from that fact. There are also many amazing synthetic wigs on the market as well, so it's like you don't have to buy like you're not living in like a wig desert in the same way that food deserts exist, you know what I mean? And also, if people start to try and like bring in cost as a factor, human hair wigs cost upwards of $1,000 easily. So the cost of a synthetic wig in comparison, like you can actually like just use a synthetic wig instead of getting a human hair wig. Now, the thing about like even human hair wigs, they only last for a certain amount of time and then you have to get rid of them as well. So it's not like there's not a huge waste from all of this anyway. So then we've got the other issue of the treatment process. I'm not on about like the people whose hair was cut was them being vegan, like, oh my gosh, that would be just ridiculous. I'm literally just on about the treatment process, because you've got the washing that happens, like intense washing has to happen, chemical treatments because most people want to have their wigs be blonde so they can be fun colors. Like, you don't get many wigs that are in like black, and there is a reason that hair is referred to as being black gold, especially if it's Remy hair, especially if it's Tonsure hair, because it's literally like, this is all perfect, just one head of hair. Literally, it's like someone's been scalped. It's very disturbing. So we do not know the chemicals and the products that are being used on this hair once it's been taken from these people and washed, and the bleaching process. You do not know what products have been used on there, and that's what makes this not vegan as well. So not only from an ethical standpoint, but also from a standpoint of the fact that you do not have traceability about what is actually used for getting the hair from that point to that point. You can make arguments about the glue and everything else and all of that stuff as well. So because the entire product cannot be guaranteed to never have like things used on it which have been tested on animals, you can't say that human hair wigs are vegan, and sorry. What was it about lashes earlier that I talked about? Now, these are synthetic lashes that I'm wearing right now. Thank you very much for noticing. So just circling back, using my corporate speak, collectively society has kindly decided that animals are not worth skinning for fluffy lashes. So that's a good thing, right? Except for the fact that for some reason companies still want to be able to create like this fluffy look to lashes, so they're starting to opt for human hair, but the human hair that's used is from the same places that are creating the wigs. So all of those issues, all of those problems that I talked about before, that all goes into the human hair lashes that are being created as well. The human hair lashes are actually claimed to be vegan and cruelty free, even though, as we've just discussed, they're actually not. I actually had a discussion with the owner of Sass Beauty, which is the lashes that I use all the time, and because they are using human hair lashes as well, I talked to them about like the issues around it, and so now they're actually not going to be supplying human hair lashes anymore. They're just going to use up the stock that they've got. But the thing is that we've got other places that are trying to label this stuff as being vegan and cruelty free, and obviously it's clearly not, as you can see from like this entire thread that we've gone down. So where to from here? Mean vegan lady that just keeps judging everyone. Like I said, I don't want you to feel judged from this video. If anything, I'm the one that should be judged for how terrible this makeup looks. It looks so bad. So obviously where to? So synthetic hair has honestly come a really long way. I actually did an entire video about it in December. Like, the technology is amazing. Obviously though, synthetic hair is harder to style. It's entirely possible to have synthetic hair wigs, weaves, extensions, lashes, everything. It's entirely possible to do all of that. For lashes personally, because the technology is so good and you're able to get like really fluttery ones. Now look, today I went for these very dramatic ones because I felt like I needed to cover up my eyeshadow. But there are a lot of places that do completely cruelty free synthetic lashes which you can use instead. Same as with like hair pieces and wigs. I will find some and I will link some good sources down below. But the thing is, like, there are already people that need to wear wigs that will have amazing review videos on YouTube about it. So I do recommend seeking them out. If I find any, I will also link those down below for you as well. And of course, like, the wigs, weaves, everything is a much more personal issue, like I highlighted at the start. Like, false lashes are definitely something that I'm like, there is absolutely no need for human hair lashes. Like, there's just no need for it. Same as with animal hair lashes, it just feels quite gross to me. Keep on using your wig for as long as you can if you already own a human hair wig. There is no point of throwing something out. Like, the thing is, like, the damage has already been done, so there's nothing you can do about it. The thing is that you can only prepare for the future of finding like your replacement wig or wigs or weaves or hair pieces or whatever. Like, I also do kind of want to question our standards of beauty to the fact that we are making people that already have a full head of hair feel like they need to have a wig or extensions in order to be deemed worthy or beautiful according to our very narrow standards. I'm gonna constantly like be bringing this stuff up as well, because it's like, this should be a form of expression, not a form of like trying to conform to what has been deemed to be desirable for right now. Like, it feels really exploitative, not only of the poor people that are creating these products and having to go through the trauma that they are, but also for the people that believe that they need this. Like, it's just because we're being taught it all the time. And fighting against that is really powerful. So if you have been on the fence and you've been wanting to buy a human hair wig, I would encourage you to try and find an alternative if you're able to. After finding out about all of this stuff, I'm sure that you, same as me, are feeling really icky about it. So I don't really know what we can do to stop the Yu-Gi-Oh camps, other than asking our governments to make a stand on it. The political part of this issue is the fact that so much needs to change inherently around the world, same as what we talked about with palm oil, same as what we've talked about with mica. Like, there are too many exploitative issues that we're facing right now, but if you can opt out of buying one of them, hopefully fairly easily. Like, palm oil is in so much food, mica is in nearly everything around you, it's not just in makeup. But human hair wigs and human hair is not necessarily essential. For some people it absolutely is, but for others it's not. So what I'm saying is, like, if you're able to not support that industry and not support the exploitation, that would probably be the best point to cause. Hopefully I've helped you with this video, hopefully it's been informative. If you made it all the way to the end, I would appreciate it if you leave the haircut emoji, because I mean, how apt is that? I also want to say a special shout out to Kimmy. Thank you so much for actually like putting this through and letting me know about these issues to begin with, because the human hair issue, like, I've had an issue with human hair to begin with because of the ethical side, but in terms of like the treatment process, I didn't ever think about the treatment process of it. But of course it's not vegan, and that was what she was raising about. But You know me, I always want to take things too far and think about like way too much, and this has absorbed a lot of my time. So now it's done, now I can just edit it. I will see you lovelies again on Tuesday, probably on Sunday with another review video because I've been trying out a bunch of things. But it depends on how fast I can edit and deal with stuff with the pain I'm in. This and sciatica, I'm telling ya, it's not been a fun week. Anyway, lovelies, thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye! Hi! Yeah, I need that chair. Look, everything's set up. I need that. Please? Look, I love you, but you can't sleep there. Can you see her? Do you see that? She's back again. Yeah, we see you. You stole my chair. I got a glass of water. You're so naughty. I just got a glass of water and you're already there. This is my life, everyone. Oh, yes, I can tickle your tummy, but you're also gonna move. Yeah.